Hello everybody, welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass here on Boss Rush Games. I'm your host and Light Excited ADV. Joining me is the one, the only bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Hello, I'm here. Welcome to the show. Ed, have you been threading it up?
I have not. No.
It's the hot new jam. Who knows? By the time this episode comes out, it could either be a smash hit or fizzled out. Time will tell. But right now, it is fun.
That's good. My nose would be too busy in so many video games. Definitely for Nintendo, and I'm currently at Xbox at this time. So
That's fine.
Let's do the PS5.
You're not doing what the cool kids do, Ed.
I am 43. I think the cool kid thing is not
Doesn't matter
to me.
You're only as old as you feel, Ed. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yes, that is true.
I don't know what's going on. I'm just here, you know.
Well, everybody, we are recording this early, Monday on July 10th. So,
yeah.
But Tuesday is the 7-year anniversary of, actually 8th year anniversary of the passing of Satoru Iwata.
Is it really 8 years already? Have we been doing this show for 8 years? Because that happened the first year we were doing the show.
He passed away July 11th, 2015.
Oh my gosh, have we been doing the show that long?
And I remember just crying that day, talking to you, going to Chili's Fridays, having a couple of drinks, but yet eating food.
Those Southwest egg rolls, man.
At Chili's, yes. I would just order some.
Yeah, man.
Shoot, I might actually do that tomorrow. For lunch, just order some, but then go pick them up. I've been trying to find a new Chinese place. Like I said, my Chinese spot don't make good lo mein no more because of the noodles that they use. So I'm just like, I need a new place.
I mean, that's fair, I guess. I had rice paper this weekend. Actually, it was quite good.
I've never had that.
I know, but it's fine. It was very good. It's. I had the Indonesian fried rice, and it had grilled chicken and shrimp in it, and grilled onions, and it comes with a lime that you are supposed to squeeze on top of it, and it's very delicious. Let me tell you, Ed, stuff's good. Although the prices went up, and it's getting like really expensive for two of us to eat there. I mean, like expensive, right? I mean, you know, it's not in the grand scheme of things, it's not that expensive, but the prices are going up, and it's noticeable. Like pre-pandemic, my wife and I could eat there for like $22 or something.
Yeah,
and it costs almost $35 now for the same meals. It's like, oh, okay, well, ooh, boy, inflation.
That's worth the eat. Yeah, I remember doing Power Block for Iwata. I got a post on Boss Rush, like kind of in remembrance of him that I gotta find and get ready to like repost tomorrow. But yeah, just I by the time you guys see this, you might see post saying Happy Iwata Day. I normally celebrate it by wishing people like Happy Iwata Day to celebrate games. And just like regardless of what other people are playing and stuff, it's just good to know that they are playing a game, something that they love, something that they create, something that they like love to write. And I just made it for me, I just kind of treated it almost like a holiday. And just rich people, I definitely go get something in the Asian cuisine feel, so I might go get some fried rice. I might go get some sushi or something. Um, but yeah, I, it's it's been 8 years that he's passed away, and I think his legacy still lives on, and everything. And it's just like hopefully people did also read his book and everything. But I think would definitely be happy and be proud if he had stepped down from Nintendo, like if he retired or something, and he's seen the success of the Switch go
Yeah.
further. I think he really would be happy.
The Switch is kind of like his swan song, right? I mean, like
Hmm.
in the grand scheme of things, you know, it's I think we talk about this every time we talk about this topic, and I think the Switch is the fully realized version of the Wii U. I've said this 1,000 times,
Hmm.
right? Like they wanted to give you that handheld experience that you can also play on your TV. And we talk about how the Wii U was good, but it was just built backwards, you know, and obviously they try to do some things with the success of the DS and give you a two screen experience and stuff like that. But ultimately, you know, the Wii U was, you know, just the Switch backwards. And it's so funny how everybody's like, "Oh, the Wii U had great games, but the console sucked." I'm like, "Well, what does that even mean? You know, if you think it has great games, like the box you play it on shouldn't matter, you know?"
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, I get that you're all playing these games on Switch now for the first time and they're great, but like, you know, that's one of the things about the Switch where like, you know, I love Super Mario 3D World. I love uh, you know, some of these other games that have been ported over, but like I've played them already, you know, especially like something like Mario Kart where like everybody was kind of playing it for the first time when it came to Switch, right?
Hmm.
But I was like, I've already been playing this for 4 years. Now, granted, we've gotten DLC and a better battle mode and extra tracks and all sorts of stuff like that, extra characters, new stuff that to keep it fresh. But it's like I've been playing this game for 10 years now, you know, across two consoles, and you know, it's kind of like one of those, you know, six in one hand, half dozen the other. It's kind of, you know, the but my point is like the Switch is kind of like the ultimate kind of console for Iwata, and I hope Nintendo realizes the incredible product that they have, and whatever's next, they better continue this. You know, I don't. I'm on the train, Ed. I'm on the train that's going down the track that says I don't want anything else but the Switch from Nintendo moving forward. I don't
But
want anything else.
which kind of leads into our the next part of our like our main discussion, that I actually kind of was like just thinking. I know I'll text you uh, uh a day earlier about what we were talking about, but I kind of want to ask you, Corey, do you think Nintendo is back in a dominant state? You know, definitely like when they had the NES and Super Nintendo, they were kind of like king of video games. And then
Hmm.
N64, GameCube, even with the Wii and Wii U, they were there, they were present, and you know, that helped them go in their different direction. Definitely they was dominated in the handheld space. But I kind of feel like with the Switch, there is something about the Switch that kind of got them back to that number one spot. Regardless of sale numbers of the system, I think Nintendo is kind of like a force to be recognized, and I kind of feel like, and this might, so a lot of people will probably disagree with this, but I feel like they're such in a dominant space that Microsoft and Sony can't touch them. Not do what Nintendo could do, but like literally touch them. And I think they're back to being not the king of games, but just like number one and everything.
Hmm.
Uh, do you feel that way in a sense, or do you are you seeing it in a different way, in a different light?
I think this is the first time Nintendo's been in the like a quote unquote non-fad winning position since the Super Nintendo, right?
Hmm.
I think I think this isn't including handhelds either, right? I mean, Nintendo's been
Yep.
dominant in the handheld space since the Game Boy came out, right? I mean,
Pretty much,
aside from
yes.
the Virtual Boy, like every single thing they've put out that's like some sort of portable or non-TV device has been a success.
Yes.
Uh, I mean, obviously the Nintendo 64 just got trounced by PlayStation, right? Almost 3-1. GameCube got, you know, 20 million units as opposed to, the 144 that the PlayStation 2 put out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, still beat out the original Xbox, but like by how much, right? I mean, it was like hundreds of consoles, if that. Um, Great consoles in 64 and GameCube, two of my favorite Nintendo consoles ever. Yes, the Wii was like, okay, we sold 110 million or 105 million Wiis or whatever it was. I still consider that a fad console because even though the console is on the market for 6 years, they
Yeah.
still sold most of those within the first 3 years, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. And I think by the time, Microsoft got around to the Kinect and PlayStation with the Move, a lot of people were kind of over the motion controls. And on top of that, I think HD took off way faster than Nintendo planned on. And so you look at something like you're playing something like Gears of War or, you know, Halo or, even something that Uncharted or something, and you look at that and you're going back to play like Wii Sports and you know, Zelda, which don't get me wrong, Twilight Princess looks great on the Wii, but like, I mean, you look at an HD game versus a standard definition game, and it's like, well, this is a game changer, right? And so
It.
I think for the first time, Nintendo's gimmick or change of pace is not a fad. I think people love this. I think Nintendo's always looking to differentiate themselves, and I think this is just enough of a quote unquote gimmick
Mm-hmm.
to differentiate themselves, but just enough of the same thing that it is still relevant with the other consoles. Granted, power wise, sure, right? But like, look at the Steam Deck, look at the ROG Ally. I mean, those are powerful handhelds that are using modern technology and something that you can probably see in the next console, right? I mean, the couple of people have already said that the next Nintendo console will be on par with the PS4 or, and that's pretty powerful for what Nintendo needs, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I think what Nintendo wants to do with their IP, I think that power is sufficient enough to do something interesting or more fully realized, like I said. Oh my gosh, that was so scary.
No.
One of my kids' toys just went off in the toy room, and I'm like, "What is that?"
Oh, I didn't hear nothing.
um, what was that? Oh, so yeah, I think as much as I love Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, man, and I've said this 100 times on previous podcasts, so just ignore me if you have heard it already. But like a Zelda game that looks like Horizon or even that tech demo that they showed off on the Wii U,
Mm-hmm.
I just like given that power. Oh my gosh, what a game they could make! What a game they could make! And like I was thinking, so I've been obviously playing Tears of the Kingdom. I'm almost done with the main quest, um, and so what I want to do is like beat the main quest, and then I can go do the things that I love about that game. But like what I would really love to see them do, and we're going to talk about this on an upcoming Nintendo Power Block. We're going to have a guest on to talk about this. It's probably already out by the time you hear this, but people are kind of throwing around which art styles do you want to come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the two most popular ones right now are Wind Waker or Twilight Princess. You're either a Wind Waker person or like a stylized, quote unquote, more realistic, whatever you want to call it, uh, uh, Twilight Princess person. And man, if they can make like what I would really like, I like the concept of like, okay, here's the sky. I like the verticality of Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
The world is too big, man. It is too big. I would like a really dense, smaller Hyrule, but really dense, like a lot of caves and caverns and dungeons and shrines and stuff like that in like a smaller space, and but just
Mm-hmm.
like full of life, like cities and bustling towns. And like, I want to go to Lon Lon Ranch, and like, it's not just, the three people that work there already. I want like a whole stable full of people. I want like 30 people working the stable. I want
Mm-hmm.
horses lined up. I want, you know, these kinds of things. And you can go into all the little taverns or the buildings and kind of really dig deep. I want something super dense, right? And I think if they stay on this track and they keep uh in this power level that they're supposedly jumping to, I think they can do a lot of interesting things. I know Nintendo, like, they're always designing around the limitations of the hardware and they want to keep things cheap and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I really think that they they're too restricted on the Switch now, right? They're too restricted, and I would really want to see that power open up and do something interesting.
But I don't think they're restricted. Um,
Totally
due to the
restricted.
due to the fact,
You
no,
see
I don't think
Pokemon?
so. But that's with the Pokemon company. That's not with Nintendo themselves. You
I
know,
mean,
I I I think it's because Nintendo is the company that freely dives into different art styles. You know, of course we haven't got a Kirby game that is claymation anymore, but it has been done. I mean, we got Yoshi's Woody World or Crafted World, with everything that they do with that. Uh, but I think Nintendo just sometimes have a style. You know, Fire Emblem Engage has more of an anime style than Fire Emblem uh Three Houses. Even though it has a more anime style, the color palette of Three Houses is very different than what Engage looks like.
mhm.
And if we look at some of the upcoming games, Super Mario Wonder, uh like that's going to be like breathtaking just to even look at. And like I said on the Nintendo the Direct recap that we did, just all the little animations and everything. And everybody heard this kind of discussion that me and Corey had before. So when we get into power and everything, it's, to me personally, I think when it comes to different art styles and everything, Nintendo is not restricted. So I think even if they get more power, they're going to they probably am going to put in a lot of more detail and stuff. You know, you got to Splatoon is really um have this pop look to it and everything with this coloring palette, and it looks really fun, and then it looks cool. It looks cool. It looks, like it's ink and everything. So to see how Splatoon 4 would look on next gen is going to be like very interesting to see. So to see what Nintendo has planned for their next gen system, power wise, will that continue to help them be dominant? Probably so. I mean, they're the ones that's getting past a million or past even 500,000 copies of a game sold, first party wise. You cannot deny that Switch is, I would say, 80% of their library is past 1 million.
No,
That's a lot of,
eighty
that's,
percent. Do you know how much junk is on that console?
I mean, I'm just talking about first party though.
Oh,
Like,
I think every Nintendo first party game has cracked 1 million easy. That's not even up for debate. No question.
um,
Probably most of them have probably passed 2 million at least.
but I think I would say some of them probably past 500. We don't know everybody wants to switch. I don't even know who picked that game up. I forgot that game even came out.
Dude, there are so many people um that don't play games who pick that game up and like love
Mhm.
that game. Oh my gosh, I'm like embarrassed that people really
I,
like the game.
I didn't pre-order that game. I didn't like look forward to it or anything. Because I don't even got one to switch. But
All right,
Like I'm
here's okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I pulled up a list. This is as of May 22nd. Um, every first party Nintendo game that has sold over 1 million copies. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Do you want me to tell you how many they've sold?
no, just the games.
Okay. Well, anyways, this is an impressive number anyway. Mario Kart 8 has sold 54 million copies. Animal Crossing has sold 42 million copies. Oh my gosh. Super Smash Brothers, Breath of the Wild, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Mario Odyssey, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Super Mario Party, New Super Mario Brothers U, Ring Fit Adventure, Pokemon Let's Go, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. There's 6 pages of this. Pokemon Legends Arceus, Splatoon 2, Luigi's Mansion 3, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Splatoon 3, Mario Party Superstars, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, they was just like they may hit
they're
20
about
million.
20. They're about at 20 million. What are they at? 18 million.
18 million.
Nintendo Switch
It's
Sports,
before you
Mario
go on,
3D All
Corey.
Stars. No,
Before you go
I'm
on, hold
gonna
on,
keep
hold
going.
on, hold on. Before you go on, is Tears of the Kingdom the only one that sold 10 million in 3 days? That's the only one, right, on Switch.
Pokemon did.
Okay.
Mario Maker 2, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Link's Awakening, page 3. Mario Tennis Aces, Clubhouse Games, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Only 4 million of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Come on, guys. That game's amazing. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, Skyward Sword, Kirby Star Allies, Fire Emblem Three Houses, 1-2 Switch, Paper Mario, Yoshi's Crafted World, Metroid Dread, New Pokemon Snap, page 4. ARMS, Mario Strikers. By the way, ARMS has sold 2.6 million units for your information. And Mario Strikers Battle League, Xenoblade
That's
Chronicles
still
2.
good.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has only sold 2.4 million copies. That surprises me. Mario Golf, Pikmin 3, Octopath Traveler. First Nintendo published it on Switch, remember. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, only 2 million units for that. Come on, guys. It's like one of the best games on the console. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Miitopia, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, page 5. Fire Emblem Engage, Big Brain Academy, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit has sold 1.5 million units. Pokemon or Pokken Tournament DX, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, only 1.5 million. That surprises me. I feel like that game would have been higher, should have been higher. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, Nintendo Labo, Toy-Con 1 Variety Kit, Astral Chain, WarioWare Get It Together, Brain Training for Nintendo Switch, Metroid Prime Remastered, only 1.9 or 1.09 million for Metroid Prime. That's
I thought it hit 3 million for Prime. Or was that Dread?
It was Dread. I think Dread was at 5.4, I think is what it said. Bayonetta 3 is at 1.07. Kind of shocked it's that high. Game Builder Garage, Bayonetta 2, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes is at 1 million. Fitness Boxing 2, Shin Megami Tensei 5. Remember, Nintendo published that on Switch. Mm-hmm. That is 66 first-party games have sold over 1 million units, and most of them are in the double digits. I would say at least half of them are in the double-digit millions.
I wonder what is the total first-party that they have.
I don't know. I mean, but I can't believe Nintendo has 66 first-party games. How many Nintendo shoot. Nintendo first party games are on Switch.
Because I know Pikmin 4 is at the end of the 21st.
Mm,
It's like in
yeah.
2 more weeks, I think. No, next week at the time of this recording. I forgot.
Nintendo Switch games. So this is riveting podcasting. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't. I can't
Because
find like a
because I
Nintendo games.
because I kind
There
of
are
feel
70. There are 79 first party games on the Nintendo Switch. Jesus,
66 of it.
79, 66 of 79.
That's not
That's
bad.
no, and you got to remember stuff like moving out and the DC superhero girls game.
Mm-hmm.
The Cadence of Hyrule is one. Good Job
Good
was
job,
one. Um,
Box
you
Boy and
know,
Box Girl.
yep, Box Boy and Box Girl are one. Sushi Strikers was one. Remember, it was
Mm-hmm.
at launch. Snipper Clips was one.
Yes,
Which Snipper Clips not selling a million units, guys. Come on, what are you doing? What are you doing? Seriously, game's amazing.
yes.
Uh, that there's so many unique experiences. Go Vacation was one. I'm just trying to look for things that look obscure and not on any list. So there's just so many, man. There are so many Nintendo first party games that are just like I don't know, man. That's the Nintendo bump for you. That's Nintendo's that's No More Heroes 3 was published by Nintendo on the Switch.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah,
That's shocking.
according to Nintendo's website. So
I thought Marvel just published it. Oh, interesting.
I think they did the physical.
Okay. I mean, yeah, 66 out of 79 games. Well,
Mhm.
yeah, like I said, about 80%.
Yeah,
Kind of. Um,
it's so
I mean,
crazy, man. This console is just I don't know, man.
I mean, it may, and I think that's why if their next gen system, I don't think their next gen system is going to be a flop. I think it's going to continue that dominance. Um, and we're going to see a lot of like maybe sequels to some of the games that came out on Switch. Um, who knows? Like it's a possibility that we're going to get some really good games. And just I think thinking of when I say dominance, kind of over Microsoft and PlayStation, it's more that when it comes to a direct and the reactions and people talking more about the games and showing pictures often and everything, I think it's so much of it because it is Nintendo, and I think a lot of people have been enjoying their products leads to that dominance
Yeah.
and everything. Like and I'm not trying to knock Sony or Square Enix with Final Fantasy 16. Like that is running things. But Microsoft is gonna have, I think, if Starfield is successful as people are hoping, that's gonna have a good run and
Mm,
everything. And if you think about it, just the eras of systems dominant and everything, just going back to Xbox 360, Xbox 360 dominated. Then PlayStation 4 dominated. Now it's like Nintendo's turn dominating with the Switch
hmm
and everything. Um, it's interesting to see how Nintendo came from a place where online gaming and big triple A and first person shooters were the big thing, and now that stuff don't even kind of, and I'm sorry to say this, don't even matter or even compare to what Nintendo's offering.
hmm
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's I mean, but Nintendo has to rely on themselves, right? Because they don't get a lot of.
Mhm.
I mean, they've obviously gotten more third-party support this gen, but traditionally they don't get a lot, especially of the caliber of Xbox or PlayStation, right? I mean, they have to rely on themselves because of their hardware limitations, and I
Mhm.
think not. I mean, again, we've talked about this before, and I think this is the brilliance of merging their handheld line with their home console line, and what, to tie it back around to Iwata and the ultimate goal here. They've been trying since Super Nintendo to connect their handhelds to their uh home consoles, right? Like the Super
Yeah.
Game Boy, or the Game Boy Advance to GameCube thing, or using your 3DS as a controller for stuff like Monster Hunter and Smash Brothers, right? Like they've
Yeah.
been trying to do this for so long that at the end of the day, when you put them as the same console, it just makes sense for Nintendo to do that. And I think that was the only way they were going to be able to compete, and differentiate themselves, and be everybody's quote unquote second system, because somebody's going to buy an Xbox or a PlayStation as their quote unquote main system for the most part, and then the Switch is their secondary system to play Nintendo games. And obviously indies took off on the Switch this gen as well.
Mhm.
And when you're everybody's second console, you sell double of what the other consoles sell, theoretically, if the Xbox and PlayStation are on an even playing field. And that's why the Switch has sold almost 130 million units in the 6 years it's been on the market.
Right. And I think when their next gen console, because now I'm thinking about it, Corey, because um I know they've been talking about now games are going to be close to 3 to 5 year cycle before it gets released, kind of like on Xbox and PlayStation.
Well,
I,
it's kind of
I
been that way already for a long time. They're just finally admitting that it's taking that long, right? I mean,
mhm.
I mean,
Well, I think that, well, the thing is, if that is going to be kind of becoming a standard, if Nintendo is putting out a lot of product, a lot of titles, I think that's really going to put Microsoft and Sony into, like, they're going to have problems
well, that's why, I mean,
in a
but that's
sense.
why Microsoft is acquiring these studios to try to get even though
Mm,
they're a little behind on that schedule, theoretically, they've purchased these studios to get ahead of that so they can release a game every quarter. So you're not waiting on a game every, you know, a year or two for a game from some people. And even studios like, I mean, you look at Obsidian, they've put out 3 games on the Xbox with 4 and 5 on the way, right? I mean,
mm,
they've been they've been pumping these games out, and it's because they're a big studio. They have a Microsoft budget, and they've been able to make the Outer Worlds and Grounded and Pentiment, and now Avowed and the Outer Worlds 2 are coming. With the rumor of some sort of third RPGs sort of thing on the way, because
mm,
they have teams freed up from Pentiment and Grounded. And yeah, those were small teams, but like you can shift people around and reassess and everything, right? Like I don't know how game dev works, but I do know how team management works. So it's something like that. And then you have, Playground staffing up so they can do Fable and Forza Horizon, which I
right.
assume will be 6 sometime in the next 2 years. Uh, you have, obviously Bethesda Game Studios is one massive team. But they could theoretically split into 2 teams to work on Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout, 5, I guess it would be. You could theoretically do something like that. Arcane has 2 studios and 3 teams, really, right? And
Mm,
so I think what you have to start doing is, and I think Sony is going to have a bigger issue with this, just based on how big Microsoft is in general. Now, granted, you know, funding the Xbox division is something totally different, and right now they're going through another round of layoffs. But theoretically, Sony would have a harder time funding multiple teams at each studio, because they just don't have the money that Microsoft has. But I think you already see it in terms of like, okay, Sony San Diego is a pretty big team. They have, two teams, right? The MLB The Show team, and the other team is theoretically working on Uncharted. It's like the worst kept secret in all of video games. Insomniac has 2 studios and probably 3 or 4 teams, right? I mean, Ratchet and
Mm-hmm.
Clank, Spider-Man, I mean, they've been pumping out games for PlayStation as well, right? I mean, you got
Yeah.
Spider-Man, you got Ratchet and Clank, you got Wolverine on the way. So, 4 games and 2 or in like 4 years, theoretically. So you have studios with multiple teams. Sony Santa Monica, right? The God of War team, and then Corey Barlog is heading up a new project. So I think you have to start looking at these studios, and you're gonna have to start managing 2 teams within the studio, and then have your artists and your people kind of move between teams depending on which game is up next. I think you're also going to start watching these budgets and making sure they're not ballooning, especially Sony, right? Because they just don't have they can't burn up the cash the way that Microsoft can again, right?
Right.
And so they have to be more efficient. And I think that's where, for so long, Nintendo has really benefited, right? Because they not, and this is going to sound negative, but it's not meant to. It's just the production values and the production in terms of motion capture, cinematics, graphics, textures, that type of thing that takes, Microsoft and Sony so long on some of these games, right? I mean, you look at
Mm-hmm.
Horizon, that game took, I can't believe they got a sequel out in 4 years, right? I mean, that game looks
Yes.
incredible. 4.5 ish.
Because it's their engine that they build, and
Mm-hmm.
so they know how to use it.
Yeah, but I mean, you just look at the landscape and the just the detail that goes into the robots and Aloy. That's the best looking character model I've ever seen ever in the video game. But then you look at something like Zelda, right? And they don't like that level of detail and production isn't there, and that's due to their technical limitation. That's due to the
Mm-hmm.
art style they chose because of the technical limitation. Tears of the Kingdom probably saved them money because they use a lot of the same animations, right? Um, and I think Nintendo works more efficiently than everybody else, and for better or for worse in a lot of cases. And they do with what they have, and their budgets are lower, their sales numbers are through the roof, right? And so I
Right.
think something ridiculous came out where like Nintendo had something like $8 billion in cash, and something like their company is worth like $68 billion or something in assets or something.
Yeah, I know it was. I thought it was 10, like almost like 10 million yen. That might it might have changed now.
Hold on.
The 10 million yen, everybody, is for like in case of anything happens with Nintendo, like they go out of business, they have money to restart up. To start back up and
Yeah,
everything, and that and
I
it's
saw this.
probably grown.
I saw this article. Where is this article? Um, this is old. These are old. I wish I could find it. I don't remember,
And that
but Nintendo is like so cash rich because of uh here it is. Okay. This is Nintendo's current assets for 2023. The company is worth 17.127 billion dollars in assets, and they have $8 billion in cash on hand, which is ridiculous. So much
right.
money. Oh my gosh, it's so much money.
And
And that's due to the point though. Like they know how to manage their teams, they know how to manage their budgets and their
hmm
assets and their IP, and we talked about it a little bit on a previous expansion pass, but they know how to manage let's put out a new game, let's put out a remaster, let's put out a re-release from Wii U or Wii or GameCube. Let's put out something that a second party team has worked on, so they have that content churning constantly. And I think that's worked
Hmm.
to their benefit this time. And again, that has to do with focusing on one console instead of two. That comes with the vision of Iwata and what they wanted the Switch to be. And it's like a culmination of the GameCube, the Wii, and the Wii U all in one.
I mean,
Their online service is, in terms of their classic games, is great. They've been selling accessories, which is like, you know, I mean, it costs probably like $8 for them to make one of those Joy Cons, and they're
mhm.
selling them for $40 a pop, right? So it's just incredible what they've been able to do and
and
what
and I,
Sony and Microsoft seem to not be able to do.
and I think it's and I feel like when their next gen console comes, they're gonna continue to, of course, work with Platinum, Bandai Namco, Koei Tecmo, probably Way Forward, and the Mercury Steam. That if anything happened to Mercury Steam, I still feel like Nintendo will buy them. Um, I really feel like when their next gen console comes, they're gonna have to work with more probably Japanese developers. Like I said, I really wish that Insomniac uh wasn't brought. I really wish Ninja Theory wasn't brought because I'm like, to make a game with Nintendo and everything. But now thinking about it, I'm like, I think Nintendo wouldn't work with Insomniac because of their platform games. I think there's a respect level of each, but I don't think Nintendo wants to share their secrets to Insomniac on how to make a platformer game and vice versa and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Ninja Theory, because of their strong relationship with Platinum Games, it wouldn't feel right with them not, and this is not much so much a loyalty thing, but I don't think Nintendo will be like, what can we give you guys that will bring us something that you're willing to that is in your realm house, like you said, with the cash that they have and their worth and how they do things. Nintendo is not that company for cinematic big games, and Ninja Theory has been into cinematics ever since Heavenly Sword. They've been that way. So to make something for them, like, yeah, I know I joked and said Project Hammer would be a nice game that they would do, but like Ninja Theory, they have a different philosophy on how they make their game and everything. I right now, like, I think when they get to their next gen system, they're gonna have to reach out to Capcom. Like, at this point in time, you have no choice but to reach out to Capcom to be like, "Hey, can you make something for us?" I mean, and I think they could reach out to Square Enix, but that really depends on what happens next. And I think Nintendo relationship with Sega is more like, okay, we on the publishing side of things of us all coming together to make a game with Platinum, yes. Something with Atlas, yes, we could do that. But I don't think they're gonna go directly to Sega and be like, "We need you to make a game for us." Yes, surprisingly, Nintendo Sega did Mario versus Sonic at the Olympics. Who would have ever thought that would happen and
Yeah. Well,
everything?
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, when Sega got out of the console market, Nintendo and Sega kind of became
Mhm.
a little bit friendlier, right? I mean, let's be honest. Uh, but to kind of wrap this all back around, like I think Nintendo's in a good spot. They have a great relationship with Japanese publishers and developers.
Mhm.
Um, they've gotten some pretty decent support from Western, third parties. Like obviously Bethesda has been super supportive, and Activision's been really supportive, and Ubisoft has been, uh, you know, they developed Mario plus Rabbids, which was the big surprise of the launch year, and Assassin's Creed has made it over in various shapes, and
Mhm.
obviously The Witcher somehow is on there. So I mean, Nintendo's gotten a pretty decent chunk of third party, which is nice.
Yeah, I think if they're gonna go to a Western third party, like once again, I think Nintendo and Microsoft got something for next gen.
Yeah.
That's going to be the one to see. And I'm not even talking about the Activision deal or anything. I just really feel that I think Microsoft and Nintendo got something big going on.
Yeah.
With that, I kind of would love to see Microsoft make an original IP for Nintendo and see how that turns out.
Well, they're not going to, so we're not going to have that discussion because they're not going to. But
I know.
I do think we'll start seeing Xbox Game Studios on Switch in some capacity.
Hmm.
Um, I think something like Grounded might actually be pretty neat on Switch, or Pentiment, or Psychonauts even at some point, or what else is the smaller games are there? There's
They're
I
not
think
doing
that
the RE3, right?
I
That's
there's
most studios.
well, there's rumors that Ori 3 is in development, but Moon's not making it. So
They're doing a different game. I
they
think.
could. Yeah, Moon's working on a new IP. Also the big issue too with Microsoft right now is that like a lot of games are starting to skip Xbox in favor of Netflix's gaming the subscription, which is weird, I guess.
Yeah, there was some game I think that just came out that was on Oxenfree too.
Mm, yeah, and it's because Netflix is competing with Game Pass, and I think you're going to start seeing more of that. Um, I think there's a rumor that that Amazon wants to take Luna a little bit more seriously, but who knows? Who knows what that even means at this point?
If they don't
Uh,
take Tomb Raider serious, I'm gonna be upset.
yeah, but I mean, Crystal Dynamics is working on that. I think they understand that Crystal Dynamics knows how to make Tomb Raider games, and
Hmm.
um, although I would also bet that at some point, Embracer sells those studios because they make great games, but they don't sell that great. I mean, Tomb Raider does, but outside of Tomb Raider, like Deus Ex doesn't really sell great. Thief didn't sell great.
Hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy didn't sell great. Avengers was kind of bad. So out of all their big studios, I could see them selling off those two. And I mean, honestly, I think Microsoft should try to pick them up if they can, because they're
For
working with it. They're working with them anyway. Like,
Crystal
uh,
Dynamics, yeah, I
I
will.
mean, Crystal's
Mhm.
basically taken over the entirety of Perfect Dark. So, uh, and then IDOS is helping someone work on a project, but I'm not 100% sure who they're helping. I don't remember which
The
studio they're
initiative
helping.
was supposed to be working on
Perfect Dark, but
Perfect Dark.
that's like 70. They've lost like 70% of that studio since they got hired. So
And
who
what
knows?
happened to 343 Studios?
I mean, they got
Didn't they
gutted.
lose people too?
They got gutted. And they only like 40% of the staff is there, and they're rebuilding the studio essentially from the ground up. And uh, the internal studio is working on a new Halo game, while Certain Affinity is supposedly taking over the multiplayer at some point. So, of Halo
That's
Infinite.
interesting.
Yeah, so I mean that's neat. Um,
And the coalition is doing. I think the coalition is kind of doing what Monolith Soft is doing, which I didn't believe. I really felt like, to let everybody know, Monolith Soft announced Xenoblade Chronicles 3, even though they were supposed to be working on their next new IP.
mhm,
I thought their next new IP would be announced before Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I think that was around the time they did um the Smash Ultimate DLC characters, like they announced from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I'm thinking their next game, because I really thought that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 would probably be their last or on their next gen system, because they were working on their new one.
mhm,
But when we got to talking, with them finishing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 while working with the Zelda team, and then probably going back to the Zelda team to polish a lot of that up. Now that Tears of the Kingdom is done, I think maybe two of the teams are probably already working on their new IP, and that's a possibility of next gen game. That I would be surprised. Definitely with their future, the DLC that came out, and then with the coalition, they announced that they were working on their new IP, but everybody's hinting that they are working on Gear 6. Um, Allegedly, the coalition hasn't confirmed it or anything, so that's a
Well, I mean,
possibility.
I think they it's kind of been said without them saying it, right? I mean, I think they said it's all hands on deck for Gear 6 because their other game was canceled at some point, and you know,
So the other game has been officially canceled or just shelved.
I don't know either way. They didn't say either way. Also, the Microsoft layoffs affected the coalition at some point too, so they kind of shifted their team to Gears. Um,
Okay,
it's one of those. I don't know.
that's gonna be mm, that's gonna be interesting to see, um,
Yeah.
and everything. And I, of course, we got Metro Prime 4 with Retro. I would literally be shocked if the people that got laid off at some of the Microsoft companies actually got hired by Nintendo and went to Retro.
Mhm.
Like, what could Retro literally do
They need to
with
stop hiring people and start making a game.
they
That's all I'm
are
saying.
making the game, which
No,
is waiting
I'm just
for?
kidding. I know game development doesn't work like that, but seriously, I saw another thing that they were hiring people. I'm like, come on! I just want to know what you're doing. I just want to know
But
what you're doing.
man, but think about it. 343 Studios, the coalition, um,
hmm
some of those people joining Retro to make their first next gen Nintendo game,
I mean,
original IP.
I don't know how many people that work at those types of studios really care about making a Nintendo game the way that
Mm-hmm.
indie developers seem to at some point, right? I mean, it's we're getting to the point where the next generation of game developers may or may not have grown up on Nintendo, right? Some of them may have grown up playing Angry Birds on a smartphone or
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their Nintendo console could have been the Wii and like they moved on to PS3 or 360, right? I mean, we're moving into that realm now where like it's not as novel to create a Nintendo game as it was when Shovel Knight came out or something like that, like when WiiWare was around or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that novel anymore, especially when there's like thousands of crap that gets put out on the eShop every day. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
when there's a great one and it's recognized for being on Nintendo, yeah, that's awesome. And there's a lot of people out there that still think Nintendo making a game on Nintendo is incredible. But now there's also the people who grew up on the original Xbox and put an indie game out on Xbox Series X and like I made an Xbox game or, PlayStation the same thing or it's just we're getting to that point now.
Well, yeah, and I think it's to me just having that thought. You know, you getting you just saying that you want something Horizon style. Of course, that's accompanying to a Zelda that you would love to have. I'm just thinking from a U.S. perspective that if Nintendo wants to have more of a U.S. presence when it comes to their games,
Mhm.
343 Studio and the Coalition, regardless of how you see them or anything, those are two big independent, not independent, those are two big companies from Microsoft.
Mhm.
I mean, and to yeah, you had all this freedom, this big game. Now you kind of gotta like downsize. But I'm just like, what if the ideas bounce off and Nintendo's like, oh yeah, that's what we want. We want ideas like you guys. Go ahead and make the game.
Mhm.
You know, and like it don't have to be a Call of Duty killer or anything. But I'm like, maybe it is a new shooter or something, a new I won't say Metroid, but just something new that really speaks retro.
Mhm.
retro studios. Because, like, man, if folks would have left BioWare and kind of went to Nintendo, I would be surprised. I think I'm just thinking, like, I want to twirl in the air with their next gen system.
No, I think
And,
you just want everybody to make.
see.
I think you want everybody to leave their studios and make Nintendo games. That's all. That's what I'm
Well,
hearing.
well, I'm just talking about the people who got laid off and stuff and everything. But if they want to, go ahead. Definitely, I think when they get into starting their own studios and everything, and they're kind of more independent and having like 505 publishing and stuff like that, I would be interested to see what they have and everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Konami. I need y'all to be talking to Nintendo for the next gen system too. I need some things from y'all. And I need to update those so we could then 1 and 2. Where the heck that announcement is at?
Mm-hmm.
Also, what happened to that one game? I thought it was supposed to be out this year for Series X. From the creators of Suikoden. I need to look that up.
I don't know.
So,
I don't know. I mean, it feels like that one's been kind of delayed for a while. So I don't know.
Because I remember both of those games was like Game Pass games. So, plus we need a new Tetris.
Oh my gosh! 2. Get me out of here.
Well, continue to rest in peace, Satoru Iwata. Corey, I think we had a good discussion.
Yeah, it was all right.
Look, I'm trying to close it. I'm trying to be everybody. Thank you for listening to Nintendo Power Block. I have been your host, Eddie V. That's Corey Dirrig.
I'm here.
Everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you next time on Nintendo Power Block. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Nintendo Expansion Pass. Goodness. Sorry. Bye, everybody.
If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/BossRushMedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.
Nintendo Expansion Pass is part of Nintendo Power Block and is a product of Boss Rush Media LLC. The show is recorded from our headquarters in Akron, Ohio, and is hosted by me, Edward Varnell. My co-host is Corey Dirrig. You can find Corey at I am Corey in HD on Twitter and Instagram, as well as hosting the Boss Rush Podcast and Tower Casuals, the Destiny Podcast. Follow Expansion Pass as part of Nintendo Power Block and on all social media platforms at Power Block Podcast. You can also follow Boss Rush Media and Boss Rush Network on all major social media platforms. Join the Boss Rush Network Discord and Facebook groups to interact with other friends and fans. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.